What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of the Kid Laroi's debut album, The First Time. The Kid Laroi is back. The Australian singer, still only 20 years old, but been around for a few years now and has pretty quickly risen up the pop star charts, finding a lot of success over the last few years in particular. Look no further than his smash hit song Stay, 2.8 billion streams on Spotify, the seventh most streamed song of all time on Spotify. Of course, the Justin Bieber feature has something to do with that, but nonetheless, the Kid Laroi has become pretty established, pretty mainstream. And now he's back with his full length debut album after the F Love mixtape series. And I gotta say, like, the Kid Laroi, I think he's like slowly getting better in the sense that he's becoming more polished of an artist. He's making more polished music. I'm still not the biggest fan of him overall, but I think there are some interesting choices made on the first time, and I think there is the opportunity for the Kid Laroi to further hone the musical approach he can use in the future, and maybe a more focused plan could come and deliver greater results. Right now, I think the first time, it's just kind of an example of all the different types of songs he's done to this point, and some of those just work better than others. So, you know, some of those songs also are just a little bit less interesting than others because I think the Kid Laroi, the best thing you can say about the guy right now is I think his vocal delivery. He pushes his voice to the limit. He gives you a very raw performance, which really fits the angsty, melodramatic lyrics and general vibe regarding most of his music. It's funny that the Kid Laroi has actually kind of disowned the sentiment of F Love 3, his last project, calling it immature and that he doesn't really stand by what that was about. I don't feel like he like quote evolved all that much lyrically with the first time. Like the whole like toxic relationship or toxic heartbreak stuff, it's still all over this, and he sprinkles in some, struggles dealing with wealth and fame as a newly successful person. That's at least in here. But for the most part, it's still sounding pretty similar to me. I think he's still very much a work in progress lyrically, but he's also only 20 years old, so hard to be too tough on him for that. In terms of the music, I think Sorry, the first track, I like this one because that's where he really gets into the struggle stuff. I like the performance that it gives you with that very first verse. Why the fuck I spend 260 on these chains? How am I so paranoid? I bulletproof my range. That whole verse, he rapidly spits that one. I think it sounds pretty cool, and his ability to give you a pretty quick flow like that speaks to the more hip hop origins of his come up. Of course, signing to Little Bibby, and of course becoming into the uh, realm of Juice World and becoming a friend with Juice before Juice passed. Of course, you can still hear the Juice World influence on the more hip hop leaning Kid Laroi stuff. To the most part, I feel like that's all I hear when he does do the rapping stuff. I think of a song like "What's the Move," for example. It's just a straight up Juice flow. He doesn't really add much to that, but I think because of the fact that now he's really trying to be more of a singer, it doesn't bother me nearly as much anymore because it just doesn't come up as much now. In terms of the stuff that doesn't quite work on "Call Me Instead," which features NBA YoungBoy, he has these pitched. Leroy has these pitched vocals in the beginning of the verse that I saw people comparing to Frank Ocean, almost like vocal editing. Interesting. I just don't think that's necessarily should be his lane. More, I think, promising though on a song like "What Just Happened," on a song like "Love Again," you have more of a light rock feel to it. You got some drums, you got some guitar. It fits his raw, anguished singing actually pretty well. I think that could be a path forward for him because, I think you think of a song like "Stay," it's a catchy song, but I think that kind of synthy stuff, uh, it's just a little bland for his singing, and maybe the counter would be that it doesn't get in the way of his discernible singing, and thus you focus more on his performance. But to me, I think just adding a little bit more, like what you get on "What Just Happened" or "Love Again," I think that's a chance to perhaps level up the music to the next level. Interesting. "Strangers Part 2" interlude is a vocal, spoken interlude, but it's not actually from the Kid Laroi. It's actually from Justin Bieber himself speaking out when he first met Haley. Thought that was amusing that was on this album. "What's the Move," which I mentioned before for the Juice flow. I actually like this song though because I think it just kind of fits the beat well. Future and Baby Drill, actually pretty choice features, pretty cool. A lot's been made, of course, about the lead single Too Much, featuring Jungkook and Central C. I don't think this song's really special at all. It's just kind of one of those like label manufactured songs, pretty obviously. But it is a great example of just how far Central C and Jungkook have become in the Western music industry, where you have a British rapper and a K pop soloist as integrated into the pop machine like no one ever has before. And to me, that's just very impressive because it's just unprecedented. We haven't seen that before. So that's cool, even if I don't think the song's all that great. Yeah, so that's the first time, man. Like 20 songs, 51 minutes. Stuff works, some stuff doesn't. Although I wasn't the biggest fan of him to begin with. So I at least see progress and I see paths forward to more interesting music. I think that's all you can really ask for from a guy who's still quite young at only 20 years old. So that's the Kid Laroi the first time. Let me know. How'd you feel about this? Did you see progress in a positive direction like I did? What do you want to hear from him next? And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.